not to leave us in the complete doldrums, Cloudflare introduced an interesting feature that I think I don't know if it's right. I mean, I think it's um, a real interesting development. We'll see how it plays out. So maybe you can cue it up. But basically, they've introduced a pay per crawl feature, which by the way, I completely missed this, and all my flipping reading, I did not see this one come across. And it's fascinating, right? Because the basic idea here, if I'm understanding it right, is that particularly in the world of like search, right? When you would normally make your money by having people down on your site and then being able to monetize ads or whatever, that these agents from Google's AI summaries to people like Perplexity, the different AI tools have sort of taken a lot of that traffic away. And so Cloudflare is trying to help their customers, website providers,
Hmm.
overcome some of this by effectively monetizing those crawls. I think the details are still a little bit scarce, and it's a very complex sort of process, but it's quite interesting to me. It's like I'm still processing. Like, is this going to work? Does this make sense? Is this really how we resolve this? I don't know. I mean, you added more details, and what was your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting as well. This idea that Cloudflare is looking at the world and saying AI bots are taking over everything. They are definitely pinging websites like crazy and basically sucking out all of the information, bringing it into their model, and then making it so that a lot of us are now going to ChatGPT or Anthropic Claude or Google Gemini or Grok or whatever have you, and we are all typing in our questions, getting our replies, and never going to the website where the information came from. So they are taking the obvious next step and saying, well, somebody's got to make money for the unique content that is being created. And they're saying, let's do some sort of monetization per crawl so that every time a bot tries to access your website, they have to provide some sort of payment information based on what your website asks for, or they can't hit it. And this is going to be especially important for both primary information websites that constantly update what they're doing, such as newspapers and magazines and journalistic content, as well as highly trusted content providers that are just important due to the sheer scale of what they are, such as Microsoft or SAP or Oracle, where they are providing updates and you're going to want those updates no matter who you are. So there's a lot of that's an interesting new dynamic that could potentially come into play.
It really is, and the reason I said I'm so torn on this is that on the one hand I get it. So in my other life, my wife and I had a lifestyle brand, and we were very much driven by search traffic and SEO. And we've talked in the
Hmm.
past about AI changing the world of SEO and what that looks like, and increasingly building websites that are optimized for AI agents or AI tools to go in and scrape that site and look at it. And so I get it on one hand. On the other hand, there's this line from, I think it was the very first Jurassic Park movie. Jeff Goldblum's character at the end of it all, they're saying, like, I think we've got this under control. And his statement was, nature always finds a way.
Hmm.
And I think in this context, the nature of the internet is that information wants to be free. I mean, we see all these sort of fights over paywalls. And look, I mean, I spent a good chunk of my career as a content creator and want to get paid for generating and producing that meaningful content. But I think if I look at this, it's this very significant sort of battle going on, and it's not, when I say it's a battle, that makes it sound like it's just this war, but it's really this conflicting set of priorities that as organizations have to go through, and just across this entire sort of ecosystem. And it's not clear to me how this wins, because I think if every single provider signs up for this, if every single provider says you cannot crawl my site unless you pay me, then sure, this probably works, right? But as long as there is somebody willing to give away that information for free for whatever reason,
Hmm.
then this sort of falls apart, right? It becomes the lowest common denominator. There's another aspect of it, and maybe I'm an anomaly here, but I rarely, I mean, if I'm asking a super simple question, right? What is so and so's birthday, or who's the cast in this movie?
Hmm.
All right, I get that. I'm probably going to take what the AI provides and be done with it. But like right now, in preparation for this podcast, I have all the windows up of all the articles we're going to be talking about. I have an AI
Right.
summary alongside every one of them, right? I have, when I'm going through and doing research and I'm asking Perplexity, I use, I think I mentioned I use Raycast and I have these tools and provides me links. I go and click every single one of those links if I'm going to rely on that data. So for me, they're absolutely still getting my referral traffic. It is not like I'm just taking it at face value 90% of the time. But maybe I'm the anomaly there because I know enough of it to know not to trust it entirely. But I also think it's a question of, well, this is going to continue to evolve, the technology, and therefore the quality of it, and our trust level will increase. Will that change? I don't know. I think it's so. Like I said, this is where I found this very interesting, mostly because it's a solution to the problem. I'm not sure if it's the right solution. I'm not sure if it's the end solution, but it certainly points to the fact that we've got a challenge that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I think this is gonna keep going in a couple of different directions. That if you have, on the one hand, if you have specific differentiated content that is truly unique and or branded in a way that it's important, or you're Kim Kardashian and whatever your brand, you have that brand name, then you're going to be able to continue charging, and you might charge extravagant amounts. But there will always be parties that are incentivized to gain influence, who are going to give away their version of the information for free. And those are probably the versions that are going to be most prevalent in the AI models going forward. They will update their data frequently. They will at least have the patina of being understandable and relevant and reliable. And they may not be the traditional media players or experts that we are used to seeing. We're going to find some new way to game the system, as we always have.